Crucio, Accio, Incendio, ha ha ha, what fun I'm having eviscerating this group of revolutionaries fighting for their own equality and freedom. But this enjoyment in a lot of ways is a mirage. Hogwarts Legacy spell system and associated talent tree is plagued by a few systemic issues which make it maybe outright bad. And these things aren't particularly easy to recognize because at the end of the day, it's still enjoyable and combat is fun. So the limitations and core problems are something we can look past or most likely not even bothered to look for in the first place. The main problems revolve around spell progression, namely through the talent tree, what spells are available and how they're categorized, and the lack of individualization that Magic in this game has. So welcome to a video where we'll discuss how Hogwarts Legacy talent tree system seems pretty good on the surface, but is actually one of the most underwhelming tech trees I've seen in a game in a long time. When I finally unlocked talents, I was already level 18 because like many people, I'd spent my time doing side quests and exploring. What I was expecting was one of the most insane power spikes I've ever experienced in an RPG ever. I thought I was about to become a magical demon just ruining fools left, right, and center with all the sick new spell upgrades I'd be unlocking. This was dumb foolish of me, however, as after flicking through all of the talents, it became clear that this was the misguided belief of a stupid person. Because the vast majority of these talents are pretty plain, they're safe, and in a lot of ways, they're boring. And the huge reason for this is that very few actually provide any sort of expansion to the gameplay, let you do something new. Meanwhile, the only talent I considered as a necessary must pick was the one which gave me access to more spell slots, which is lame that the only talent I considered a default unlock was just a quality of life change. 14 talents spent in an instant, and most of them just made me slightly stronger, like I could curse enemies and they take more damage when attacked, or made the game easier in mostly pretty disinteresting ways, like Revelio now has a larger casting sphere. Wow. While these are slightly useful, none of this is exciting and none of it really fundamentally changes anything about the game. More so, just having 3 groups of talent blocks unlocked by hitting certain levels seems kind of good, but in actuality is terrible. What happens is that you just take the talents which you like best first, obviously. So every subsequent level has you taking something less useful or powerful in your eyes. This leads to a situation where you're never working towards anything. Taking talents never feels like you're progressing to something stronger in the future. It's literally the opposite. Every additional talent feels more and more like a small additive that doesn't really matter. I can't think of another RPG where I've leveled up and not even bothered to unlock a talent. Sometimes I'd have 2 or 3 talent points just sitting around because I didn't care about what I'd get when I'd spend them. I was left with a character in the late game that felt basically the exact same as they were 15 levels earlier when I unlocked talents. And the changes that did exist had nothing to do with the talent tree. This, honestly though, is the least of this game's problems. So let's talk about the talents that do exist, because they are an absolute yawn across the board. Now there are some which are kind of good, but these are some of the safest, lamest, most milquetoast, uninspired skill upgrades I've seen in an RPG in a long time. Like, they made improving your magic uninspiring and not something you excitedly look forward to every time you level up. And that's kind of a crazy bad fuck up. Just over the smaller issue, basically every spell only gets 1 upgrade. This by itself is lame, but not a major problem. This is made so much worse though, because even though there aren't that many upgrades, most of them are pretty generic and not even related to the spell. On top of this, they just duplicate the upgrades and apply them to a bunch of spells. So the spells, even though they only get 1 upgrade, don't even get a unique upgrade for themselves. The upgrade for Accio is when multiple enemies are near each other and you use the spell, they're all affected by it, not just one of them. Oh, that's kind of cool, I suppose. I mean, hitting multiple enemies at once isn't really specific to a spell which pulls things towards you, but nice. Sweet, what do we get when we upgrade Levioso? Oh, it's the exact same thing. Now, I spent all of 2 minutes thinking of these, but what could happen is when you cast Accio, you can press the spell button twice to cast its upgraded form. You double tap 2 on PC, or hold right trigger and double tap square, a mechanic lots of games have. In Accio's case, this upgraded version of the spell pulls the enemy towards you, then has you conjure a wall that they smack into, taking damage, before they go back to hovering in front of you like regular Accio. Meanwhile, the next upgrade requires you to press the cast button 3 times, which has them pulled towards you with you now conjuring a massive hammer which you use to smack them back like Depulso. So now you have the choice to either pull them close, do damage, and then set up for a combo with a different spell, or pull them close and then smash them away, giving you space. This would create a situation where the spell upgrades provide dynamic combat options, one that actually relate to what the spell does. Another small example of this is it would be way more interesting for Levioso's upgrade to launch enemies way up into the air so they're out of the fight for a few seconds, before they land back on the ground taking a ton of damage. That would feel like you've actually upgraded a spell which lifts someone off the ground. You know, before you could only lift them into the air, but now you can throw them into the air. Your actual spell casting ability when it comes to lifting someone off the ground has improved. As it stands, none of the spell upgrades in this game feel like they were dedicatedly designed for that spell. They all feel like generic upgrades which just happen to have been applied to that spell. And once again, these upgrades are so basic and lame. Apart from the spell now hits multiple people if they're close to each other, the other upgrades we see multiple times are the spell now does area of effect damage, which is very similar to the Accio Levioso upgrade. While the third unique upgrade the game employs is before it hit just one person, now it'll hit multiple people, which once again is only really a very slight variant of these other two. It's all just it hits more people. Now, hitting more enemies and doing more damage is good, but the way this game goes about it is just so uninventive, and this is by far most apparent with cursing. Now, Crucio and Imperio do have effects which are unique and sort of interesting, but you can also curse people with other spells, which is an awesome concept. And when they are cursed, they just take more damage. They just got cursed, dude. They don't freak out, they don't try to flee or surrender or go insane and start attacking people around them. Any behavior at all which might indicate being cursed fucking sucks. No, it's purely mechanical. Anyone with a green X on them now takes more damage when you attack them, and if you upgrade it, then that damage is applied to everyone who has a green X on them. You fuckers, it's the same upgrade. It's all just, it hits multiple people. That's all you've got. Oh, you just got Avada Kedavra? Well, that will kill one person when you use it until it's upgraded, and now everyone with a green X on them will be killed when you use the spell. Yes, game, thank you. I know, that's the same thing. Again, it's not a reprise if it's the only thing you do. Even the goddamn attack cabbage upgrade is just, now there's 2 of them. That's the best you could think of. What would be an awesome upgrade for our really sick carnivorous murder plant? Oh, what if there was 2 of them? And we could go down every talent upgrade, and it's the most basic thing they could have done. Health potions now heal more. Your stealthing is more stealthy. The potion lasts longer. Your stupefy stun now also does damage. Lame, lame, lame. Now, with this said, combat is still fun, and you learn spells along your journey, and in many ways, these are the actual upgrades you get that change the dynamic of combat. This is kind of a problem though, because it sort of shrouds the primary issues of the talent tree, but also deflects away from the fact that this talent tree as a whole sucks. Yes, the individual upgrades are bad, as we've discussed, but the categories they've chosen and how they progress your character are basically inconsequential, which is a total failing of a tech tree. What a good tech tree would do is firstly make the buffs specific to those spells, give them more distinctive personalities. Yet this tech tree does the opposite. It makes all the spells more generic. It makes them closer to each other. But secondly, it would allow the player to express their personal style of play, and the upgrades they choose would reflect the type of wizard they want to be. Now, obviously with the current system, some people are going to prefer some spells over others, but these don't really say anything about who we are as wizards and witches. They're more just mechanical preferences. Oh, you like Levioso? Nice, that's a good spell. I prefer Confringo. Okay, and who gives a shit? That doesn't mean anything. The only time this isn't true is the curses. Do you use Crucio and Avada Kedavra plus the same basic spells as everyone else, or do you just use the standards? Which is an engaging choice that not only affects our individual gameplay experience, but also says something about us and how we approach magic. It's so fucking boring though that this is the only example of this. Why this is such an issue for this game specifically is because magic, spells, being a Hogwarts student, these are ideals for some that are weaved into their identity, and the resulting spell usage and combat style they want to use is an expression of self. So the fact that this is barely visible is a massive shortcoming of this system, and people are desperately trying to find any semblance of personalization in this spell list. There are tons of TikToks where creators have assigned spell loadouts to characters from the main series, or tried to denote that certain combos or loadouts indicate anything about us. People want this to be true so fucking badly, and it's just not with the current system that we have. So this was a quick breakdown of the systemic shortcomings of the talent tree system as it currently exists in Hogwarts Legacy. However, the fact that this is the system in the game, that these 5 categories are what they went with, the decision to have spells be grouped into control, focus, damage, and not anything related to the world of Harry Potter, this is a much larger systemic issue that makes the magic in this game a totally missed opportunity to do something special or even noteworthy. This video is an unofficial part 1, with part 2 being where I really break down this problem and explain why Hogwarts Legacy desperately needs a class system, and I talk about what this class system should look like. And that's the video. Like it if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you're team using unforgivable curses. Thanks for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye!